Who's Connie Francis? Hit songs included Who's Sorry Now and Pretty Little Baby. Dies at age 87. All right, well, let's get into it. How did she die? Connie Francis, the wholesome pop star of the 50s and 60s, whose hits included Pretty Little Baby and Who's Sorry Now. The latter, that would later serve as an ironic title for a personal life filled with heartbreak and tragedy. Dead at 87. Her death was announced Thursday by her friend and publicist Ron Roberts, who did not immediately provide additional details. Okay. Maybe just natural causes, maybe? Francis was a top performer of the pre-Beatles era, rarely off the charts from 57 to 64, able to appeal to both young people and adults. She had more than a dozen top 20 hits, starting with Who's Sorry Now, and included the number one songs Don't Break the Heart That Loves You and The Heart Has a Mind of Its Own. She's wearing red, and there's like a lot of heart and a lot of love going on once again. Remember, Love Island just ended. We just had the finale, and how I connected that with Diddy and his Love album Off the Grid. So it looks like there's some more love stuff going on here. Heart, loves, look, heart again. Like other teen favorites of her time, she also starred in several films. These are disgusting titles. Pretty Little Baby. Look, Where the Boys At. Follow the Boys. Like, you can't put like men in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, follow the men, right? Pretty Woman or something. Like, you know what I mean? All this boy girl baby stuff. It's like disgusting by now. You would think they would kind of check some of the language they use, but we know there's cover-ups going on, but they put it in the language, right? So they're not saying how she RIP'd.
Pretty little baby, you say that maybe you'll be thinking of me and try
Am I supposed to just play all of that or what?
to love me, pretty little baby.
All right, so sounds disgusting.
You can ask the flowers,
I guess it's just the song.
I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds.
All right, and I guess I guess that was a hit, right? So let's look at it. I don't want to go too deep on this. A little bit tired. Let's grab her name and let's go on the fly here and let's get a couple of connections. You see Connie Francis right here. Just Connie. Let's check her birthday, and too bad they're not saying how she died. Right? Did not immediately provide additional details. And as I scroll down a little bit more, they're just kind of going over some of her successes. It looks like right here. So she says is this a quote here? My personal life is a regret from A to Z. Interesting. She told the Associated Press in 1984, the year the book came out, I realized I had allowed my father to exert too much influence over me. So I guess she had a book. All right, and they give us a whole bunch of paragraphs there. Let's go over here to Google. Connie Francis. So she has the 12/12 birthday, December 12th, and she dies July 17. Let's ask Google, explain the character Connie Francis. Okay, so is this the right one? Yeah, this is her, it looks like right here. Born Concetta Rosa Marie Francanero, I guess, and she just went by Connie Francis on the world stage. Now look, this says she died July 16th. See that right there? But it said July 17th a minute ago. So, was an influential American pop singer and actress who achieved immense success, became one of the best-selling female artists of her time, pioneering the path for subsequent female artists in pop and rock music. So it says July 16th right there. And then it also says July 17th. I think that's just the number. Like it's like the AI system trying to figure it out or something. It's like, wait a minute, we have connections with the 16th. We have connections with the 17th. So, and then I think after a few days, it just kind of works its way out. And I guess we find out for sure. Let's see what the article says. Does the article even tell us? Let's see. Did they say she died a certain day? Okay. Died at 87. It says it was announced Thursday. So today's the 17th. Okay. So maybe announced the 17th and maybe died the 16th. So we may have to utilize both dates there. Okay. So let's put her actual name in here as well. Oops, I thought I here, let me grab it again. So we got Concetta Rosemary Francanero. Let's go back over here. And let's go ahead and enter that in the Gematrinator calculator and let's see what we get here. Okay. So if she did pass the 16th day of the 7th month, then that would be a little bit interesting because her full name equals 157 right there. Okay, 157. So she may have died 167, which that's pretty close right there, wouldn't you say? And how many days before her birthday? So let's go over here. Again, we're working with two death dates. I'm gonna if I had to guess, I don't really care to do that, but it sounds like it's possibly the 16th. But we're getting those two dates. And her birthday is 12/12/2025. So so we'll say 149 days before her birthday or 150-day span. So 149, 150, if it was the 17th, then 148, 149 right there. So let's just go with the 16th for now. So 149 days before the birthday, 150-day span, and I don't see any of those in there. We got to make sure we check our prime numbers. 293 is the 62nd prime number. Sacrifice does equal 62. It's not really like a huge connection there though. I notice how Francis has 47 there. Like Trump equals 47. And if we're using that 17 date right here, then that's 148 days before her birthday that she dies, and that may be legitimate because they're giving us both dates, because there's been a lot of influential females that have died lately, and you could say that some of those connect to Donald Trump. You see, I think it's Donald John Trump that equals 148 when you spell it right. Or is it Donald J. Trump? See, Donald J. Trump equals 148 right there. And you kind of get that 716 in there as well with 176. Remember, two death dates, one of them showing 7/16. So you even get that 176 in there. But let's grab that 148. There's been about 3 or 4 female characters influential lately that have passed. Even kind of members, supporters, I should say, of the LGBTQ community, which Trump has kind of made an impact on that community. Probably like, they would say he's like a pig or whatever. You know what I mean? They would refer to Trump as maybe I'm trying to think of how to say it. Maybe being against women or whatever, however you would say it. But all right, let's see if we can find a YouTube video on Connie Francis here. Let's see. Let's watch a YouTube video. Okay, so dies at 80, and she's dead at 87. We can't forget that number. Let's play this.
Now to this breaking news, singer Francis has died. Francis recently became a huge hit on TikTok with this song.
Oh.
Pretty little baby, you say that maybe you'll be thinking of me and try to love me.
And they're playing too much of the music. So she became a hit, a success on TikTok recently.
We recently just ran a story about this, her legacy.
Really?
I think on Mornings at 10, we recently just ran a story about this, her legacy here. She was the first woman to have a #1 hit on the Billboard 100 back in the 50s and 60s. The Newark, New Jersey native was 87 years old. Francis was hospitalized earlier this month after suffering from extreme pain, but it just towards the end of her life, getting to get this viral fame amongst young people on TikTok, leaves something behind.
Yeah, I'm really glad she was around to see it because you saw how grateful she was.
She got her flowers.
She spoke about it too. She was like so shocked. So
on the Billboard,
an influential female just receiving some fame on TikTok.
100 back in the 50s and 60s. The Newark, New Jersey native was 87 years old. Francis was hospitalized earlier this month after suffering from extreme pain, but
just after suffering from extreme pain. I mean, she was 87. But let's look at some of these females that have died recently. Look, we had poet Andrea Gibson right here, and her full name equals 146, which is Donald Trump's birthday. I think it's Andrea Faye Gibson. Her full name equals 146. She dies at 49. Washington equals 49 as well. Okay, and we've had a few other female deaths. Amberelle, now, she wasn't a member of the LBT, what is it? LGBTQ community. But she kind of has that same kind of like appearance, right, with her hair. Not to judge or anything, but we had her die as well. Susan Brown Miller also died recently. She had a book called Against Our Will. So a lot of these prominent figures, prominent women influences in their careers have passed recently. I just can't I don't really want to spend the time to find them right now. But that could be interesting, right? And she's born in look how she's born in 37 right here. Okay? So she's born in 37, and let's go back over here. Connie equals 30 and Connie Francis equals 77, which is like 37. And I thought I saw another 37 in there. Let's put TikTok. TikTok. And what was the name of that song again? Pretty Little Baby. Let's put Pretty Little Baby. Look at there. There you go right there. There's that connection with Trump right there. There's the connection with Trump right there. Because Donald J. Trump equals 68, like Pretty Little Baby. Donald John Trump equals 68. And Donald John Trump also equals 220, like Pretty Little Baby. And there's 94, which is that 49 reversed. Remember, Washington equals 49. So we get more Trump connections here. And remember Trump and the TikTok thing with the TikTok ban, supposedly. You see Donald J. Trump equals 49. TikTok equals 23, like Donald as well. So Pretty Little Baby. Let's do I have Donald John Trump in there? No, let me put Donald John Trump in there. Let me show you. See, there's that 220, there's that 76 right there. And TikTok even equals 76. Check that out. So they say this woman just got fame on TikTok recently with that Pretty Little Baby song. And you see, obviously, Trump is connected with TikTok. There's been several stories with this TikTok ban being lifted, being put back in effect. Trump is using TikTok to claim imperial powers. Mike Pence calls on Trump administration to push China on TikTok. And we could go over here. Connie Francis, TikTok. Right here, Connie Francis, official TikTok. Maybe I can click on that real quick, if it allows me to. So let's kind of look at this TikTok. 180.5K followers, 3.9 million likes. Is this her? I don't want to log in. Let me click here.
You can ask the flowers. I sit for hours telling all the bluebirds.
So it's just kind of this song that she's just lips. I mean, it's her song, but she's just kind of like lip singing along to it.
Thank the many wonderful artists who paid tribute to me by singing along with Pretty Little Baby. First of all, there was Kylie Jenner, Timothy Chalamet, Kim Kardashian, North Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Agnetha from ABBA, Incidentally, it's mutual. I'm a huge fan of yours too, Agnetha.
So I guess she's proud of these celebrities who like her song. And let's not forget, she died at age 87. So is there an 87 in there? Well, if she died at 87, she did die in her 88th year of life, and Trump equals 88. Look at her name here, equals 157. Remember, it says she may have died 167, but United States also equals 157. Ooh, look, United States. There's that date right there. The 16th day of the 7th month. Look at that right there. So her full name equals 157, like United States. And United States equals 167. And that's one of the two death dates we get here, the 16th day of the 7th month. And the other being the 17th day of the 7th month. So we get 167. So there's definitely some connections here with Trump again. And that hit song syncs up with Trump right there. Okay. So not a complete, I wouldn't say a complete undeniable script here, but definitely some interesting things connected with Trump on the fly here. And remember, TikTok's got T like Trump from the 717. Well, we could say for sure that this is reported 148 days before her birthday, and Donald J. Trump equals 148. Okay, so there's solid connections here, and we get some matches with the date numerology as well. Ooh, I'm seeing something else too. Okay, so let me grab some of these screenshots here. I'm seeing, check this out. So even July 17th, remember they say July 17th or July 16th. That's weird. Look, July 17th leaves 167 days in the year. 167. And 167 would be one day before 177, the 17th day of the 7th month. Look at this date numerology here on her the day they announced the death is what they say in the article. 69, just like her next birthday, 69. You get a match with 33 date numerology, and you get that 49 date numerology that's been hitting. And remember, Washington equals 49. Even Kamala Harris, I guess you could say another influential female. Remember, she was the 49th VP as well. Okay? So, just a little recap here. I don't really feel like going too deep down the rabbit hole. But we get some solid connections with Trump here, with another influential female that dies. Is there anything with the name? With the name Connie Francis. There's a lot of 49s that have been hitting, so that could be kind of like San Francisco 49ers. That could be a little bit of a stretch. I still expect to see some 49ers news with all the 49ers that have been hitting. But you see, we get the two death dates. It says died July 17th, died July 16th. We know for sure that it's reported July 17th. But her full name here, Concetta Rosemarie Francanero, equals 157 like United States. And 157 would be one day before the 16th day of the 7th month. So we get 157, 167, 177, all kind of lingering here. And it's reported 148 days before her birthday. Donald J. Trump equals 148. And you see that 176 again, which is kind of like the 7th month and the 16th day. The numbers just shifted around. And United States has that 167, which is one of the death dates right there. The 16th day of the 7th month. And you see that 176, 167. Right? And then July 17th leaves 167 days in the year. So, we'll play one more video and probably just leave it at that. And it always happens when and something needs to be said again about this pretty little baby, little girl stuff. You know, think like all like the Elvis songs. Elvis had that song too back in the day, talking about a little girl. This stuff's got to stop, right? Pretty little baby. Come on, right? Let's play this E! News.
The music world is mourning the loss of a legendary singer. Connie Francis, the vocalist who topped charts in the 1950s and 60s and whose music recently saw a resurgence on social media, has died at the age of 87. In a statement shared to Facebook July 17th, the president of her label, Ron Roberts, announces, quote, "It is with heavy heart."
Ooh, the president of her label announces it. So you get president in there. Damn. Francis kind of makes you think of like Pope Francis as well, who, you know, Jorge Mario Bergoglio. Think about Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the Pope that died recently.
Heart and extreme sadness that I inform you of the passing of my dear friend Connie Francis last night. I know that Connie would approve that her fans are among the first to learn of this sad news. Her passing comes a little more than 2 weeks after she was hospitalized following a bout of intense pain, with the singer expressing regret over having to cancel an appearance with 1960s DJ Cousin Brucey. The Pretty Little Baby singer, whose 1962 track has recently gone viral on TikTok, retired from the music industry in 2018. But
when did Pretty Little Baby release? Pretty Little Baby release date. It released in 62. Remember, sacrifice equals 62. And look, we caught it. We caught the 60-second prime number earlier as well. Let's go over here. Is that her full? That's her full name right there. And 293 is the 60-second prime number. Pretty Little Baby releases in 62. And I said sacrifice equals 62. See that right there? And there's that 170. Remember, like 17, this was announced on the 17th. Today, July 17. See that?
she even got in on the TikTok trend herself, lip syncing to her own song in a video June 9th.
Pretty little baby, I'm so in love with you.
But she re-entered the spotlight earlier this year as her song, which she recorded at age 24, entered Billboard's Global 20 and Spotify's Daily Top Songs USA more than 6 decades later. In the wake of her song Making Waves, the New Jersey native, who in 1960 became the first woman to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with her single Everybody's Somebody's Fool, was thrilled.
And Connie has 60 like Donald Trump. Connie has 60. Donald Trump equals 60. Right there. And there's been a lot of deaths connected to TikTok recently as well. TikTokers dying. There's been YouTubers that have died. Right. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. There's probably going to be something else I missed. but it is what it is. And this has just been, you see the red there, which could kind of symbolize sacrifice as well. But she's age 87, right? And we didn't catch an 87, but that is before her 88th birthday. She passes, and Trump does equal 88. What was that other song though? I'm just gonna enter a couple more of these songs that they give us. They say "Who's Sorry Now," "Pretty Little Baby." I'll put "Who's Sorry Now" just to see if we hit that magical 87. If not, I'm not gonna stretch to find it. Nope, but you get that 68 again, and look, you get 112 like Donald, and that 212 hit earlier as well. Donald's got the 112. This was one of her hits. "Who's Sorry Now," 112. And that 212 hit earlier as well. 212 and 68 like "Pretty Little Baby." Look at that. And then you see Donald 112, "Who's Sorry Now" 112, Donald John Trump 68, Donald J Trump 68. You see that right there? So let's look up that release date before we get out of here. "Who's Sorry Now" release date 58. Yep. Okay, so "Who's Sorry Now" released in 58. And "Who's Sorry Now" equals 58. See that? Reverse reduction cipher. "Who's Sorry Now" equals 58, and it released in 58. Well, that feels good, doesn't it? Look at that right there, released in 1958. So you get a lot, and you get a lot of Trump connections here on top of that. Okay, so I am confident leaving y'all now. They say she entered the hospital with pain. She was age 87, but really no other information on the death. Connie Francis, whose hits included "Who's Sorry Now" and "Pretty Little Baby," dies at 87. A lot of Trump numbers here, and even with that TikTok connection with Trump. So I would say now this is undeniably connected with Donald Trump, and I just showed it right here. Dead at 87, RIP. On the fly, I got a long day ahead of me. I'll be back later. Peace.